We always ask these questions about why government, if they know that these UAPs, UFOs, could potentially be otherworldly, whatever they might be, that how come there's not a push and all things running towards finding out what this is? Well, there's a pretty interesting interview that happened. There's a British member of Parliament that was interviewed by the Soul Foundation, and his answers for why there wasn't a push or how much of a priority or whatever it was. I have a lot of thoughts about what he said, because as I've mentioned to you guys time and time again, where as human beings, and if we have potential knowledge that there are things bigger than us out there, or there's intelligence out there that could further our civilization, or there's things that could benefit us, whether it's, again, technology, health, environment, whatever it might be, then why aren't we going after it, trying to figure out what it is, working together, and as we're talking about here, working with other governments to figure out what it is. So I want to play this clip from what this particular gentleman said, and then we'll discuss his comments afterwards. So check it out.
The issue of UAP sits in my inbox, with people who can't keep themselves warm in the winter, who can't feed their family, who are about to be deported unfairly, who can't get treatment for cancer in a timely manner, who have no home, who are about to be made homeless. These are my political priorities. The fact that we have a looming imminent, well, it's already here, the climate crisis. We're sat here in sweltering heat where, people will be dying this evening because of it. These are the issues which my constituents expect me to be prioritizing my time. Do they think that prioritizing my time on, finding out more information about UAP should be a political priority? Well, I imagine if I sat down with my constituents, they'd say to me, no, it's not. So, there is only a limited amount that I feel I can do under the guise of democratic accountability and transparency on this issue, given the kind of the general amount of stuff that's coming at us. And, look, some people have pushed back at me and say, Clive, do you really think that this is a priority? Do you not think perhaps that there are people in government who want to promote these issues because it's a distraction? Whilst people are chasing down the truth on UAPs, they're missing the elephant in the room about the fact that there is mass corruption in politics, or they're not chasing down the fact that the national healthcare system is coming apart at the seams. That's energy they're not spending on fixing our own, democratic economic system. They're spending on chasing down what some people think are conspiracy theories about aliens. So, there is a political trade-off here. How much time am I, as a politician, willing to spend on the issue of UAPs for my intellectual curiosity, and of course under the issue of democratic accountability and transparency, and how much of it actually I shouldn't be, because there is so much in my inbox, in my in-tray, that we need to sort out in this world and in this country and in my city.
All right, so there's Clive Lewis and his comments, and I'll tell you, it was honest. He was honest. I don't like the answer. I get it. And it makes sense in the grand scheme of things when you think of, all right, here's this topic that not everybody believes in, not everybody takes it serious, that they still, the relevant and accurate thing is that there are a lot of important issues, and what we as human beings go through and have to handle and have to figure out, because no matter how much you look into something, even if it is something that is extraordinary and it's going to change the world or change the way we look at things, there are other things that cannot fall by the wayside. And that is the unfortunate part of this, because when you have everyone on board and everyone wants to get the bottom of it, then people delegate things to other things. and they say, okay, well, look, this is an important topic, and we need to make sure that this is happening. So you put your time here for a little bit on the UAP topic. You put your time here for a little bit. You put your time here for you do this, and I'll work on this, and that. And in what he's saying is that people are like, well, what are we talking about aliens and other things? We have other things to do. Stop, don't answer those emails. Don't do that. Why are you even paying any attention to it? It's just to distract. There are tons of topics outside of UFOs and UAPs that are used and tended to distract. If there's, oh, hey, well, this potential scandal is going on, so let's start talking about this instead, or let's put our attention here instead. That happens all the time. So any topic could be, well, they're using that for distraction to divert from what's really going on. And so when it comes to the idea of this topic has been taboo and still is, it's less taboo than it was, and people still are talking about it. And then there's these information dumps and all these other things that hadn't happened before. But as I've mentioned time and time and time again, that the press doesn't cover it as a major story. These other things don't cover it as a major story because it all makes sense when you think about it, because whether it's the UK, here, news organizations, whatever it might be, they don't take it seriously. And that's why when we are talking about it and we say that there's a pocket of group, it's always the same pocket of group. It's always the same pocket of people that are talking about it or doing something about it. And I say Burleson, and I say, Moskowitz, and I say Luna, and I say Harry Reid from years ago. And there's a select group of people. And that's why when even we talk about the vice president, who's like, oh, I'm really interested in about it. And he's like, I don't have the time to do this. But you have 2 hours or 3 hours to go and do an interview on Joe Rogan. You have the time. You spend 2 or 3 hours instead of doing that. Spend 2 or 3 hours diving into the topic and having a meeting with some of these people. So that wasn't truthful. What the real answer was I find it fascinating, but I don't take it that serious. And in the same way that in that interview, he said that things would have leaked if it was legit. And we know that things have leaked. Otherwise, they wouldn't have hearings. But it just backs up what Lewis is saying here. He's got all these different emails and other people that about files of UFOs and everything too. But then there's people, what are you doing? We have other things to do right now. There's this, there's that, there's this. Don't spend your time there. That's a waste of time. In the same way that whether it is Burleson or Luna or any of these people who've said, like, I'm told that this is going to ruin your career if you do this and you continue to do that. Because they're like, what are you talking about? Why are we focusing on this when we because there's a battle, especially here. It was the same as in the UK. I assume it is, but it's like there's a battle here, and it's like our team versus their team. And it's like, well, we need as many people on our team fighting for our fight and doing our votes. And what are you sniffing around UFOs for? So it's discouraging, but it's honest. And I really did appreciate the answer. I don't know. How'd you guys feel about it when you hear that interview? But there are more governments and more people talking about it. But will it change? It kind of reminds me, hear me out here, in the, I remember when I don't watch CFC as much as I used to. Like when, in like, I was really watching it around like the 2005, probably like 2012, 2013. That was the time I was watching it like religiously. Now, during that time, it was not talked about in mainstream sports, and ESPN and all these places wouldn't talk about it, and they wouldn't cover it, and they didn't take it seriously. And I remember trying to find them. Well, there's a big title fight. When's the main story? Then for 2 seconds, they would show something and then you move on. I compare it to this because it's like, because now you look at it, and anytime there's a big fight, they cover it, they do this. It's on ESPN now. They show events on ESPN. And I equate it to this wondering, is there a shift? Is there a shift that will eventually happen where it will be the number one story everyone talks about? And the answer, I guess, would be, yeah, when they announce that there's freaking aliens, or they announce that they actually have craft and stuff, then they have to talk about it. Or will they just ignore it? I don't know. What say you guys? Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'll be back real soon. I'll talk to you later. Bye. You know, cravings is not just about the nicotine. It's really about the habit in general. It's the hand to mouth motion. It's the oral fixation of it. It's the momentary pause. When that loop is broken, the cravings, they spike. So Fume, which I've talked to you guys about before in the past, that replaces your habit with a flavored fidget device that gives your hand and mouth something to do. And it's distracting cravings without nicotine, vapor, or batteries. So my buddy Ming, if you watch my other channel, he is a big smoker. And I said, dude, you gotta try this. You gotta check it out. And you gotta try Fume. And it's not just about trying to quit. It's upgrading that habit loop. So you got to reach for Fume instead of doing the normal habit. So new habits can feel pretty easy on day one. The cravings hit on like day 5 is the thing. So Fume, when I was talking to Ming, he was like, that helped. It kind of interrupted his old pattern of doing things. So there's favorite flavors. I asked Ming, I was like, what is it? He said to him it was the raspberry one. He said it was a kind of tangy and it was more on the sweeter end of things. And there's a good offer that's going on with Fume right now. And when you grab a journey pack, you get a free gift, and you just got to use my code DTE. It's a pretty good deal. Fume has already helped over 700,000 people take steps towards better habits, and now it's going to be your turn. You got to use our code DTE, get a free gift when you do it with your journey pack. Head on over to tryfume.com, TRYFUM.com. Use that code DTE to claim your free gift today. I have had Fume as a sponsor before. They have helped out various friends. That's why I usually always say I love working with them, because every single time, whether it was Mark Riley, who you guys know, my friend Ming, Fume has been helping tremendously and will help you. So go and check it out. Use that code, and I think it'll help you.